Hello, welcome again to Beer Buds and the Big Sky podcast. Thanks for joining us. We got the four buds here as always, and tonight we've got a special guest, Governor Brian Schweitzer. The man is here with us to talk about a couple things, and thanks for coming on, Brian. Thank you very much. Looks like you're comfortable at home in your office. Looks nice. That's where I see you do podcasts from nowadays. Anyway,
it's all the rage.
Our time's limited with the governor, so I'm going to get right to it. In today's Montana, Brian, do you think that you'd have a chance to win a race for governor? You know, it appears since COVID we've had an influx of these red state voters, and do we blame the show Yellowstone?
Listen, when I ran for governor, the folks in Helena, all the insiders, they'd pulled all this. They'd pulled it, and they knew that a Democrat couldn't be elected because we hadn't elected a Democratic governor in 20 years. So none of the A-team even bothered to run. And so when this farmer from Whitefish, who they had never heard of, said, yeah, I'm going to run for governor, they all looked at each other and said two things. They said, number one, who the hell is he? And then number two, they said, good, we got one. And so I ran. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I ran like I was running for the statewide office. You know, there's a lot of people in Helena and Missoula. This will be the first time that they hear this. 56 counties in Montana. Did you know that? 56 counties?
Yep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of the Democratic Party doesn't spend very much time in about 40 of them. You know, my advice to people that are running statewide is this. There's 6 counties you can win in as a Democrat, flat win, okay? And there's 40 counties that you can win statewide elections if you get to 40% or better, okay? You can still win.
Right.
But you got to go to those places.
Yeah.
You got to go to those main streets. You got to talk to their weekly newspapers. You got to sit in their radio station. You shake hands with people. You yuck a little bit. You ask them what's on their mind. And so, people say, well, Montana's changed that much. All right, let's take Great Falls. When I was governor, almost every legislator elected from Great Falls was a Democrat. Okay? Today, almost every legislator elected from Great Falls is a Republican. Now, I don't want you to have to do a lot of research, but if you take a look at the population of Great Falls was 30 years ago, 15 years ago, and today, it's the same population. It hasn't grown. It hasn't changed. What's changed is the way Democrats have been speaking to people across Montana. And, what we need is we need some blood that understands the Montana outside those 6 counties. We need some blood that understands that you listen to people. You don't speak down to people. You ask them what their concerns are, and you write it down. And when you go places, you continue to ask people what's on their mind. And you make it look like you give a good goddamn. And so that is some of the people running for office. They just want to be the smartest person in the room. They might be the smartest person in the room, but don't act like you're the smartest person in the room, and you'll win elections.
Well, it sounds like that's why you're supporting Joe Pett.
Could I ask a quick question, Ed?
Ed?
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, Brian, it's Steve Quinnell. We've met before. You might not remember me, but
Probably not.
I'm a Whitefish
Forgettable guy.
local guy. Is that a gun in the corner back to your right there behind you? And if so, is that the one that you bought for your wife? Oh, it's not a gun. Okay.
That's a gun. That's a
Oh, it is a gun. Okay.
Barely a gun, all right?
Is that the one that you bought for your wife when you were?
No, I
when you
bought
were
her a
in-
pistol.
Okay.
I bought her a pistol. That's just a rifle.
I remember that being such a big thing among some Democrats when you were in office, and that because the whole gun control issue, and you turned it on its head for Democrats at that point, and I just want to give mention to that.
When I ran for governor, I ran, and there was another guy from Whitefish who also ran for governor by the name of Bob Brown. Nice enough guy. He'd been, unlike me, he'd been in politics for the previous 30 years. I hadn't been elected to anything. And so I got a call from the Associated Press. Bob Inez called. So I'm on the phone, and he says, yeah, I just came from a press conference in Helena, and Bob Brown and Dave Lewis, who is his lieutenant governor candidate, they held a press conference about guns. And in front of them, they had a table. And on that table, they each had 2 guns that they owned. And in the middle of the table, they had a stack of all the ammunition that they owned. And they told us about how much they liked guns and where they bought their guns, where they keep their guns, where they buy their ammo, and all the rest of it. And so I'm giving you a chance to respond. And so Bob Inez from the Associated Press said to me on the phone, so I'm going to ask you a few questions. That's fine. He said, do you own some guns? And I said, that's none of your damn business. He said, no, I'm trying to write a story here. I said, yeah, and I'm trying to answer your question. Quote, none of your damn business, unquote. And so he kept pushing me, and finally he said, all right, look, I got to have more than just none of your damn business. Can you give me something else? And I said, yeah, I got guns, more than I need and less than I want. And so the next day when people read that in the paper, everybody in Montana who owns a gun, they're looking at one candidate who's telling the whole world where they bought their guns, where they keep their guns, where they buy their ammo, and another one that says none of your damn business. And they all knew, one of them knew guns and one of them didn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's who we are in Montana. By the way, I don't think the license plate in Montana ought to say Big Sky Country or Treasure State. This is who we are in Montana. It ought to say none of your damn business.
Yeah.
We are.
The leave me alone state.
Right.
Like Missouri's the show me state.
It's
I
just
think
a different
Montana's
meaning of
the
get
leave
lost.
Me alone, you know. All right.
I'll show you my gun, Missouri.
Dude, we got a couple more topics to get before you get going, and just want to get your thoughts about what's going on nationally with this redistricting battle, this what appears to be kind of childish fight, you know, and what's going on, and how now Speaker Mike Johnson said that the United States is going to sue California because what they're doing is illegal, but somehow Texas it's okay. I understand every state has different laws, but just real quick, what's your take on this, watching this as an outsider, as an ex-politician?
Well, let me just say this. This whole thing is about Trump. Trump recognizes that his polls have collapsed. And normally, a president, even if their polls haven't collapsed, the midterm elections, they're going to lose seats in the House and the Senate. And so he recognizes that's what's going to happen. And if he loses the House and probably the Senate, then a lot of the stuff that he's doing, people are going to raise their hand and say, yeah, I don't think you can do that. It's unconstitutional. So what he's trying to do, and he's working with Texas to do it, is to bend the laws, and so that we can change the laws so that only Republicans have a chance of winning in these legislative districts. Listen, in politics, that's been going on for a long time. These districts have been gerrymandered in states all over the country, done by local legislators. But this is outrageous what's occurring here. A president who wants to change the rules in the middle of his term and tell states what they can and cannot do.
It's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that in this day and age with, you know, so much information out there that most of the country would see or would think this is wrong. And, you know, there's Republicans out there, I think, that would think it's wrong too. Well, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
now,
he's
that
upset.
asshole's throwing his hat in the ring. God damn it. I mean, you know, just keep your mouth shut, you know. But, yeah, it is. It's interesting. It's horrible. It's childish. And to have a president dictate what we're doing in our own states, especially in the states where these are the people that are anti-government, small government people. These are the ones that are taking this big government, you know, as more seriously as anybody ever in the history of government, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
You're making Trump win right now. He doesn't give a good goddamn about any of these politics. He only cares about Epstein. And he just, anything to change the subject. He has a meeting with Putin.
like this guy.
Big
Putin
deal.
said,
The Friday
Putin
fizzle.
said, kiss my ass, and he went home.
Yeah.
So he wants to talk about elections and this and that. Anything but Epstein.
And I'm descheduling marijuana. Another smoke
Yeah.
screen. He's just throwing this shit. You're right.
Nice.
He's throwing it out there all the time. But okay, you know what? That's enough about
Well,
Trump.
Bannon
'cause
said
he
it's
just-
all warfare all the time. That's his. You know,
Oh yeah,
just,
Steve Bannon. Oh yeah.
all
Flood the
warfare
zone.
all the time.
Flood the zone,
Yeah.
man.
Well, did you see what DeSantis said today? DeSantis wants to just have Trump give him an extra seat in Congress.
Oh my
See
God.
that today? That's what he
Oh
came
my
out with
God.
today because he said that they were underrepresented in the last census.
DeSantis is such a.
Well, here's the one they should give DeSantis. He's got a big prison in the middle of Florida with immigrants. Let's
Yeah.
give them a congressional vote.
Yeah, right.
Right. They probably have the population is probably good enough. Anyway,
Let them mail in their ballots.
yeah. I got a two-part question, and this is for Montana and nationwide. Do you think, is there a leader of the Democratic Party right now nationwide? And in your opinion, do the Democrats need to do better, or what's wrong with this party? Like, what is, just today there was an article came out saying Democrats are still losing voters to Republicans, which blew my fucking mind. It really blew my mind, and I don't know, I don't trust any of this shit that's coming out anyway. But, what do you think? You think that you got a clear-cut nationwide leader, and what would your suggestion be to fix this Democratic Party, outside of hiring Mike Jopek to be the Montana chair?
There's not one thing to change the Democratic Party or should change the Democratic Party. They need to be a little better at messaging. As I said earlier, too many Democrats act like they're the smartest person in the room and they talk down to people.
Right. Nobody likes to scold.
Yeah.
30 years ago,
Guilty.
30 years ago, people that took their shower at the end of the day, people that had high school diplomas, not college diplomas, voted for Democrats 90%.
Yeah.
That's completely flipped today because they want a little entertainment. They're not going to spend a lot of time to understand politics. If you can't explain it in about 11 words, they're going to turn you off.
That's so true.
And so Democrats have to get better at explaining it. They need to show it a little bit. As Mike recalls, when I was governor, I did things so that people would pay attention. When I was vetoing bills, I didn't sit down at a desk and use a pen and explain all the legal jargon. I fired up the hot iron brand veto after I registered it with the Department of Livestock, and I burned the hell out of those.
Yep.
And people all over Montana said, geez, those must be bad bills.
I was there live. Love it.
When I started right there in the Flathead, loading up senior citizens on a bus, taking them to Canada so that they could afford to buy their medicine. And that was to tell Washington, D.C. that you got to stop selling yourself out to the pharmaceutical companies. And so people start paying attention to those things. But you have to do it in a way that people care and can understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's easier said than done. Like, as somebody that sits back and watches and reads the news and see all this ridiculousness coming out of D.C., like we had Trump say the other day, we're the only country in the world. Nobody else does mail-in voting. It's just us. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, there's 30 countries that do this. It's a safe way to do it. It's the right way to do it. But obviously, he's afraid of this midterm, like you said, and I think and it's another smokescreen thing. But, can the Democrats defeat this? Because it doesn't matter what he says, man. It doesn't matter. Once he says it, it's gold to about 30 million Americans. And by the way, if you do not celebrate 4th of July every day of the year, you're not an American. All right. How about
30 million Americans doesn't elect a president. And so there's still a lot of people that he needs to reach out to. Yeah. And there's 30 million people in America that aren't going to change no matter what you say on left or right. But elections are decided by the 10% in the middle. And those 10% in the middle are the people that pay the least attention to politics. So the week before the election, you have to have a way of talking to them in the language that they would actually use, in the visuals that they would understand. Not because they're dumb people, but it's because they've got a busy world beyond just politics.
Well, like getting fake shot at and putting ketchup on your ear. That's kind of like, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Democrats need to stunt like that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I think you're completely right, Brian. Right.
But in Montana, let's go back to Montana.
Yeah.
You just have to organize in Montana. You can't just do it sitting in Missoula and Butte and Bozeman and Helena. You cannot do it and just those places and throw in Billings and a little bit of Great Falls. You've got to be across Montana. And you have to know how to talk to people that are living in places where you don't live. You need to understand a little bit about agriculture. You need to understand a little bit about irrigation, about water, about oil, about coal, about transmission lines. Right now, you're going to have to know a whole lot about these data centers, because they're talking about data centers coming into Montana that are going to use more electricity than all the electricity combined that we use in Montana right now.
Right.
And so we're lucky because we're on an electric co-op. But the 70% of Montana that are on Northwestern Energy, well, After the legislature
yeah.
lowered the taxes for Northwestern Energy raised their rates. And now Northwestern Energy is going to raise their rates again so that they can sell a lot of electricity to these out-of-state corporations that are going to come in here and build data centers.
Isn't there somebody in government that's supposed to be helping us?
Well,
You
some
know,
of that is
isn't
thanks
there-
to deregulation in the early
it's
2000s
amazing. We
too,
just
right?
don't. It seems that whoever is supposed. And what is that? Is that OPI? I forget. No, it's
No, it's a public service
PSC.
commission.
PSC. Yeah.
PSC.
I mean, like
Yeah.
they're supposed to be helping us, although our insurance has gone crazy the last couple of years. I mean, my bar liability's gone way up. My house insurance. It seems like nobody's going to bat for us in Helena, and I got to be honest. I don't know why.
Oh, I know why. Because the Public Service Commission, like a lot of the rest of the Republicans, they respond to a couple of things, and those couple of things are old whiskey and thick steaks. And so the lobbyists, they provide those two key elements of legislating, and that's why we run things in Helena the way we do.
Segue.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, we were losing Mike's audio there, but we got it.
Sorry, I had
which is
nothing
good.
to
This is a
say.
good segue. When you're talking about Montana specifically, before we let you go, I do want you to talk to Mike here with us and talk about why you're supporting Mike for the Dem chair. I think a lot of things you say are a lot of things I hear come out of Mike's mouth pretty much weekly. And maybe, for our audience and for us, let Mike know why you're supporting him, and you guys talk about how Mike's going to help this party in Montana, because it needs a lot of help. And I'm not in any way ripping on anybody. I understand there's some establishment people that probably aren't real happy with me and stuff. And,
There are.
I'm thick-skinned and it's cool, but I just want what's best for Montana. And I want to see somebody fighting these billionaires that are just coming in here and buying elections, So go ahead. Tell Mike why you're supporting him and why we should all support Mike for the chair of the Democratic Party in Montana.
There are several reasons. I've known Mike for 25 years. When I ran for office, Mike was helping me in my campaign. After I was elected to governor, Mike was also elected to the legislature, and we worked together. And during the 8 years that I was governor, we never raised one tax or one fee on anybody. No residential, no business.
Yeah.
Nobody had a tax or fee go up, and yet we grew the largest budget in Montana history, a budget surplus, because we challenged every expense. Mike and I ran the business of government like you would run a farm, and challenge every expense along the way. And that's how we built a budget surplus when 48 states went in deficit in 2008 and 2009. And that's because Mike and I understand what a small business is all about, and we just use common sense. Mike Jopek is the right choice to lead the Democratic Party. Mike Jopek has been involved in Democrats for a lot longer than many of these legislators have been involved in Democratic politics. Mike Jopek has the one key issue that you need to be a good leader. He listens. Mike Jopek's not talking all the time. He's listening.
Oh, that's
and
our
he's
job.
and he's a great writer. He is a great writer.
He is.
He understands
Chopping block was
rural
great.
Montana. He understands rural Montana, and he can get along just fine with the folks from Missoula and Helena. He's done it before. He can do it again. But he does there's some drawbacks with Mike Jopek.
Now the truth comes out.
Everybody's got a drawback. He happens to have it hanging around his neck. You're not going to wear a goddamn tie, are you, when you become the chair of the Montana Democratic Party?
He dresses so nice.
So great.
I thought it was just for us every week.
Get this man a bolo.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, don't be looking so damn pretty.
That's it. Looking good.
All right, Mike, why don't you talk to, why don't you thank Brian?
Well,
and,
I remember
tell him your
when-
ideas to make it
I remember
better.
when Brian was running. Oh gosh, what was that? 2004 or something like that. He'd stop by
2004.
the little pubs that be at the Northern, and then, he'd stop there and he might have a shot with the bartender. But the next thing I know, he'd be back in the kitchen, and he'd be talking to all those line cooks back there, talking to the waitrons, and he figured out real soon who the voters were in the downtowns, and that's something you don't see from Democrats. Democrats hold these events, and they're kind of like semi-catered and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Brian was always back there with the line cooks and talking to those guys and talking about how expensive the wings were and how good the whiskey was.
Yeah, and how good the whiskey was for sure. Well, we talked about it last week that you know, the Democrats will throw parties and stuff, but you got to pay to get in, and it's a money thing. And, you know, of course, they need money. There's no doubt in my mind they need money. But, you know, I think, you know, when you're talking about pig roast back in the day with Weinberg, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's very grassroots. It's very, you get to be one-on-one, and regular people get to come to these events. Because regular people aren't really going to the other events that are costing $50 or $70 to go to, you know? I mean, that's just my opinion.
Or 700 or 7,000.
Yeah, right. Like, apparently we had one of those for Republicans here in Whitefish last night.
Just found
Really?
out about it today. Yeah.
Zinke?
Yeah, he was here, I guess.
Oh,
Even Hennon didn't know about it. That's
no way. I
crazy.
know. That's crazy.
All right.
Well, they don't have time to meet with regular folks, and
No.
they don't want to go down the main street of little towns and just walk up to strangers and say, "Hey, how you doing? How things go on around here?" And then pull out a little notebook and take some notes of what they say. That's how people know that you're a listener.
Yep.
That's how people know that you're going to work for them. Standing in front of a group of 50 or 500 people going like this and explaining all these big words that you learned in Helena or Washington, D.C. from lobbyists, we've got too much of that. We need people that listen. We got plenty of smart people in Montana that know damn well what we need.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been talking to some of the folks across Montana. I was talking to Paul over in Havre, and you know he says he's in a 41 DPQ. That's a 41 Democratic Party quotient. You know, 41% of the vote.
Yeah.
And he keeps winning over there. And he keeps telling me, yeah, the Democrats don't really want to come over here and help me, and I got to do all this work by myself. And it seems like the consultant class of the Democratic Party is kind of focused on the areas that they can win. And, you know,
Which doesn't make a lot of
which
sense.
doesn't make any sense. I talked to the
we
folks
already-
in
we're
Great
already gonna win
Falls,
them
and they
anyway.
are mad as hell right now.
No support.
No support, and there's this contingency of runaway Democrats that are trying to work with the Republicans to elect more Republicans in Great Falls. And the Central Committee there is like, what the hell is going on? Why is all this, you know, swamp coming out of Helena, and why do we have so much drama flowing out of Missoula?
Is there a lot of women involved? I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that, but the drama's got to stop. I mean, from a farmer's perspective, we don't like drama at all.
No,
You got to get up
no,
in the
there's no
morning
drama.
and out the door and do your chores and get working before the sun gets too hot. And these guys are just infatuated with drama right
Well,
now.
you say you're the chair. You know, I can see you handling it much like Governor Schweitzer has and how he handled himself. And, you know, what's your solution to that in Great Falls? Would you just go there, get a motel room, stay a couple nights, and get that shit in order?
I think you have to talk to people real plainly and bluntly and say, knock off the crap. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
if you're taking Democratic money and you're working with Republicans to elect more Republicans, that's a problem for Democrats, especially in these areas
Yeah, I'd
where
say so.
Democrats can win.
Great Falls seems pretty ripe to me.
You know, look, Democrats can get from 42 seats in the House to 51 seats in the House if they want to. There's no doubt about it that they can win those races. If they stop with the drama and they focus on winning, they can actually win. Because
And Mike knows this. We got to recruit people in those 40 counties across Montana. When Mike and I were in office, we spent time traveling across, myself and Democratic legislators like Mike, we traveled across Montana, we shared duties, and we'd go to people's living rooms and we'd sit down with them and talk them into running for office in places that Democrats had a tough time winning.
Yeah.
But if we don't have anybody on the ballot in all these local communities, then we can't win statewide because people will vote for their neighbor, and if they're voting for their neighbor, maybe they'll vote for a Democrat that comes from Great Falls or someplace else.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mike, Havre's okay. I was born in Havre, and all
That's right.
four of my grandparents homesteaded in Hill County, so I do okay in Havre.
Yeah.
Did your cousin Lawrence Welk ever visit you there?
No, he visited me in Great Falls a couple of times at
it's
the ranch
close.
out there. Yeah.
Boy, did you see
It's
that
one
rain
and a
Havre
two
got?
and a three.
Wow.
Oh, I know. They were kayaking down the streets in Havre
They
yesterday.
got like a half a foot of hail and a bunch of rain.
yeah,
Holy
man.
cow.
Pretty nuts. Well, what else do we got for
Not
the
nuts.
governor?
Not nuts. They need water in the Milk Rivers.
You're right.
Let's
They do
start
need
there.
water. You're right. You're
We'll
damn
get it in
right.
the Milk River one way or the other.
Anybody got anything else for the governor?
All I'll say is, you know, it's interesting, Governor. You talked about meeting people and writing things down. Before this show, I was talking to someone yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, how's the podcast going? Who's coming on this week?" I said, "Oh, we got Governor Schweitzer," and he said, "You know, I've always liked that guy. I was in downtown Livingston. This was 25 years ago, and I'm walking down the street, and this guy comes up to me, you know, asks me what I care about in Montana. Turns out he says he's running for governor." I tell him, he pulls a little notebook out of his front pocket, he writes it down, he thanks me for my time, and he goes about his way, and I've always remembered that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just the story he was just talking about. That's amazing. And, that seems to be lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be lost.
Look,
Well,
good ideas are coming from talking to people. That's where good ideas
I'll be
come
honest,
from.
What did
Fern-
Max Baucus say? His goal was to shake a hand of everybody, of every landowner in Montana, right? When he was elected back in the day from Libby, another unknown guy coming out of Libby. That's how he got elected. He walked into well, he said he did, whether he did or not, but he talked to as many people as he could, right?
Mike brought something up, when I was governor, I wasn't campaigning for anything. I was just meeting people. And so when I was in a town, I'd go into restaurants and bars and I'd shake hands with a few people that were there. But in Montana, if you go into a restaurant, half the people in there are from outside of Montana. So you're not talking to Montanans, but I can tell you where you are talking to Montanans if you walk back in the kitchen. Yeah. So I'd go back in the kitchen and say hi to everybody that was cooking or waiting or cleaning, tending bar. And the problem was when you're governor, you got security traveling with you. And oftentimes the people who are working in the kitchen, they're out on parole.
Yes.
Or they were always nervous about that. I didn't care. They were just neighbors that got in a little trouble, and they're trying to get back in sync with the rest of Montana.
Yeah. Amen.
That's pretty awesome. I got a question. What about the key to your office?
I didn't have one. So,
okay, that's right.
What happened was when I was running for office, Bob Brown, we had several debates all across Montana. Bob's a good guy, and he liked being in front of people, and gave me a chance to talk about my ideas. And wherever we'd go, there'd be two podiums, and Bob would look over at me, and then he'd turn to the people and say, I don't know what's going on here. I've been serving in government for 30 years. I was in the legislature when I was 21 years old. I was the leader in the House and the Senate. I'm statewide elected right now, and this guy has admitted that he's never even been in the Capitol. I turned to him and I'd say, you're right. I've never even been in the Capitol. In fact, at one of these debates, I said, to be honest with you, I never even been in a bathroom in the Capitol. So I've been anywhere in the Capitol, let alone in the governor's office. So after they swore me in as governor, I turned to the press who were all there, and I said, remember, I've never been to the governor's office. Could some of you lead me down the hall into the governor's office and show me around? So they did. I followed the press down to the governor's office, and they took me back to the back area where the governor has his own little private office, and we all walked in there together, and there was about 15 of us in this little office, and I looked around, and there were a couple of books on the desk, and there were a couple other paintings on the wall, and there was a key on the desk. So I picked up that key, and I said to the people that were in the room, these press people, I said, I wonder if this is the key for the door. So I walked over and I checked the lock, and sure enough, it fit the lock on the door. So I threw it in the garbage, and I said, your job as the press in Montana is to make sure that door never closes. And every meeting I have, whether it's with a single mom with a disabled child or the CEO of Shell Oil Company, you're invited in this room. There's no secrecy in Montana. I represent you. You can be here.
Oh, the good old days.
That's transparency.
That is transparency. We don't seem to
refreshing
see
to
that
hear this.
anymore, I guess, God, it's
No, but we need Mike to be chair of the party.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
support him 105%. Not only because he has the experience, he's been involved in this for 25 years.
Right.
He also has the experience of running the state when Democrats were running the state, and he remembers what it was like. He also has met legislators and people from all over the state. He's not just a flathead guy. And he was part of an administration, like I say, that never raised one tax or one fee in 8 years and built the largest budget surplus in history. He gets the budget. In fact, I'll say this right now. Mike Jopek knows more about the budgetary process than any legislator who is currently serving in Helena. And Mike Jopek understands how important it is to recruit legislative candidates from across the state. And this is the way this starts. You got to start at the bottom and build your way up. Because right now, you got Democrats that say, oh, you can't win statewide, so I'm not going to run.
Yeah.
We can win statewide, but we have to start in those 40 counties out there. We have to start in those places that we aren't even represented anymore. There's not anybody out there that's even speaking about the things that Democrats are doing. And Mike Jopek will lead the Democratic Party back into control of this state again.
Well, that sounds like one hell of an endorsement.
That does.
You know? And that's true. I think we're missing about 24 counties without committees.
Oh yeah, we have a bunch of central
Or
committees.
26.
Yeah.
26 counties out of 56 don't have committees. I mean, that is amazing. But, hey, we want to thank you very much for joining us, Brian. That was really nice of you.
Thank you.
And we hope
But if somebody's if you got a scissor or something like that, cut that damn tie off of that guy.
yeah, that's what we're going to do, man. All right, we'll hold him down after it's over.
We'll get him a dirty old T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got plenty that he works in.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, hey, thanks a lot, Governor. That meant a lot to us.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Adios.
Thanks, Governor.
That was really good. I mean, to hear a guy like that and his stories, and I've heard plenty of these stories, and it just kind of amazes me that this was a guy that was a governor of an actual state.
Right.
It's almost like
Two-term.
knowing Mike was actually a politician. Like Dave Fern is a politician. Mary Cafaro is a politician, I mean, Pat Noonan. There's a lot of these people that are just real good, down-to-earth people that you can trust with your heart.
Yeah.
And, and yes, I'm biased, but I'm going to tell you what, when I look at a lot of the people on the other side, I do not see that same kind of, down to earth, gritty, American values. I see people looking for money.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to run for office for people.
There
Some
really
people
is.
run for themselves, and some people run for other people.
Yes.
Well, and I think Mike's a little too humble to brag like Schweitzer did, like
Right.
Governor Schweitzer did on him about overseeing a budget or overseeing a Congress and an administration that never raised a single tax, never raised a single fee, and also created the largest budget surplus in state history. I think those three things, to our listeners, he was a because I know
Democrat.
Mike, and
He's
because
a
I know Mike, I
Democrat.
know he's too humble to kind of say those things
Oh, yeah.
about himself and to brag on those. But I think that kind of fiscal leadership is what people are jonesing for in this country.
Right. Oh,
They
right.
really are.
Well, he
and they
does-
just don't know how to elect the right people to put them there. And I think if we can somehow
gotta change
get Mike into the chair of the Democratic Party here, then we can start to build that conversation with people across the state.
I mean, if you see Mike around the chicks, he's a little different. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right, and it's something that I think is up to, obviously, if Mike becomes the chair, to make sure a lot of that stuff gets done, and those conversations are happening. I mean, there is, to a degree, hopefully still meeting people face to face, talking to them about their problems, like Schweitzer was talking about. How your story of a guy that just randomly
Yeah.
said, some weirdo just asked me how what's up.
So he pulled a little thing right out of his pocket,
I mean,
wrote it down, said, "Oh, that's a great point."
You should ask your friend or this guy what it was that he told him, because there's a
Balance the
off
budget.
chance that became policy somewhere down the line.
Right, yeah.
Because
You're right.
good ideas do come from talking to
Yeah.
people.
No, I agree.
No kidding.
So that was his first race was wild because I was in high school as a freshman. So both Bob Brown's kids and Schweitzer's kids were in Whitefish High
Oh
School.
yeah, that's right.
man.
And it was crazy. Like everybody was, picking one side, picking the other, this and that. But it was like, I learned so much as a freshman about politics, and why I fell in love with it was right there because there was two people that actually cared about me.
Right. Bob
And
Brown's a pretty good
That
dude.
was, and I haven't felt that since.
Bob could run as a Democratic governor now. He got kicked out of the Republican
Right,
Party. He's retired though. He couldn't. He's probably couldn't make it. Okay. So I think that was cool.
It was
That
great.
really
It was
cool having
refreshing to
Brian
hear
on.
the stories about how you just listen to people, you do things for people.
Right.
There was obviously some.
And you're not the
there
guy
was
that was
there
supposed
was
to win.
there was some cinematic moments like taking people in buses to Calgary to
For
to
prescription
get,
pills,
Yeah,
yeah.
but still, I mean that
Been there.
It takes
That's-
theater. It takes.
there's a bit of that,
Ask Donald Trump.
but it's all based on real things.
Exactly. Yes, he's taking a topic, a subject, something that's near and dear to a lot of people, turning it into a show and a positive show. He's getting something done by doing it. And that's, I mean, it is pretty amazing. It's from a politician to care that much. I don't see Gianforte doing that.
No.
I don't, you know. I mean, I don't. You know, and that's one thing.
He doesn't care a lick about about people down low. I mean, he body slammed someone from the press.
I'm going to tell you, and I was talking about this with somebody earlier, though, for sure, in the state of Montana, we're looking at falling in love with these billionaires. I mean, we are. And I mean, not me personally or any of us, I'm sure of that. But I think there's a strong contingency of the state, of people that live in this state now love how expensive it's getting, love that the famous people are coming, love that, you know, big corporations are buying up mountain ranges to build golf courses. I mean, there's people that do love that shit.
Is it just because they own
I don't
property?
think it's the people in the 30,
so
26 counties that don't have Democratic national
the guy I was
committees.
talking to owns a few
What do you think,
casinos
Mike?
and some businesses. And, you know, he doesn't like it either. You know, he goes, it's not a bad thing. Like, you know, obviously anybody that owns land, you're doing well, but that's not the reason any of us came here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the big part of it. You know, it's like, I mean, I came here, you know, and it was 25 years ago, and it was cheap. My house was 50 grand. Yeah. You know, I'm like, this place is always going to suck, that's why I want to be here. You know,
But people still today are coming here for the same reasons, with the great outdoors, the
those are the
clean
reasons.
waters, the access to the hills,
now that
the
scenery
streams,
tax is
places
fucking
to hunt
insane.
and fish and camp and that kind of stuff. People still come here for that. They might be coming here with a lot more money, but the allure of Montana is still the same.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking beautiful. It's just not. I mean, it's amazing how many people just say like, "Wow." You know, I've only vacationed in Colorado or California. And then now that COVID happened, people know where Montana is. They know what it is, you know. 10 years ago, nobody knew what it was. You know, they didn't know what Whitefish, Montana was, you know. Now pretty much everybody does know it. I mean, it's so famous that it has its own podcast.
Instagram is kind of, Instagram has made a big difference, especially since COVID.
A lot of Insta-famous people out there. Let's get to our topics real quick, though, because we just hit $37 trillion in our debt. Ryan, you start talking about this.
We did. $37 trillion.
I mean, that's just a made-up number, isn't it?
That's right. It's just a lot,
How many
it's a lot
zeros
of
is
zeros.
that? 12?
I mean, why doesn't he fire that person?
Or 16 zeros?
Why does he fire that person?
I don't know, but typing it out, I was like,
How
God,
many?
my
Okay.
God. Did I
That's
put
a lot of zeros.
I was like, did I put
1,000
too many?
million,
And I was
billion,
like,
trillion.
yeah, I was like, no, I'm still in the billion. Jesus, I got to add another one. Yeah. 21% of that is, you can put that on Trump.
From his last term?
Yep,
and
from
now
Trump
this
one and now. 21%.
Because of tax cuts, right?
Yep, tax cuts and COVID spending.
You know, this basic idea of math doesn't strike home anymore. Like revenues and
doesn't matter.
expenses.
Steve, we
You
haven't cut
can't-
taxes enough.
I mean,
That's
I
it's
don't
usually
get it.
that,
That's the
or
part I don't
it was
understand.
Obama's fault somehow, or it was Clinton's fault, or
Obama started World War I.
it was my
World War
mother-in-law's
II,
fault. There's always someone to blame
Vietnam.
as to why the Laffer curve hasn't just exploded, and these tax cuts are going to pay for themselves.
Well, you're saying that 21% happened under Trump. Nearly 50% happened while Steve Daines was in office.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Nearly
for
50%
sure, you're right.
Yeah.
of that $37 trillion happened while Steve Daines was in office.
Yeah, it's
He's worried about it.
Well, regardless.
Anytime there's a Democrat in office, he's really worried about the deficit.
We know.
really worried.
God, I'm so sick of
We
it.
know that
And the debt
Republicans
ceiling.
don't care about it unless a Democrat is in
Right.
office.
They
We've
do not
talked about
care.
this a million times.
They don't care.
The average American doesn't care because the average American's in so much debt too that they don't give a fuck.
They don't
Somebody's going to forgive it someday. Maybe they think that way. I don't know what it is. But to have this many people not care, you know, where if money does rule the world, which we're a big part of making, we are the country that made this a world economy. Don't get me wrong. Nobody should ever think anything fucking different. Since the industrial age, we made this a global economy.
Right.
Now we have a doofus in charge wanting to make it, you know, making us nationalists, getting rid of this global economy that we fucking started that made us rich.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's kind of crazy to be putting us in that much debt and also isolating ourselves at the same time.
well, you know-
that seems like a fucking recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Because
Right.
you know who cares? You know who cares? Like the question here is who cares?
Yeah.
Right? You know who cares?
Not Jimmy John Cousin
people,
fucker living
the
in
people that we're
Mississippi.
the people that we're relying on to buy our debt 5 years from now or
Right.
10 years from now, when we destroy all of our diplomatic relations with most of the people who buy our debt all the
Who,
time,
is it still Japan? I
In-
remem's seeing Japan. It was the
Oh, this is
largest.
I
China-
think,
I think-
it's the biggest, Japan's still the
China and
biggest.
Japan are probably the two biggest buyers.
China's dropped off lately.
But
They
when you internationally, just as an individual international investor, if you're looking for a safe bet to park some money that you know is going to grow.
You're not looking at America right now.
You would be, but not anymore. I mean,
not
now
right
it's like, no, we're out. So that's who cares, and that's the long-term effect of this Trump administration on the debt is like, who is going to buy this debt?
Well,
because we're not going to have buyers for it soon enough.
So I
or
don't
we're going to
think-
have to pay more in interest on it because it's not going to be as high quality a debt.
Right, but again, like we know, most people don't pay attention to politics or the debt or any of it. You know, a lot of people don't. They say they do. They say it matters.
Yeah, they don't.
But they're more into ideology. You know, really. You know, they say, okay, we got somebody getting rid of all these illegal immigrants. You know, and they love that. So they don't give a fuck about, you know, the debt and all this kind of stuff.
Poor person bought a soda with a food stamp card.
I know. That bugs me. It bugs me. It really bugs me.
I mean, soda. Come on.
I mean,
like a quarter cup of sugar in a 12-ounce can.
Am I in the minority on this?
I kind of agree on the idea that there are some things that people need education on, and if you got to be educated on what is good for you, and if you're using federal dollars to buy food to sustain your family, and you're buying soda, I'm kind of on board with that. I'm kind of on board with that.
Our president eats McDonald's.
I've got some thoughts when you're finished.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's
But
just like,
I understand
90%
that
of the
they don't
time-
know better.
Well, and they can only go shop at the 7-Eleven at the corner because they don't have a car to get there.
There's
Or
the
a
other
grocery store.
Or
to get
the other
there.
issue is food deserts. Yeah, I get that. I
You
get
know,
that.
I mean,
I don't
and,
disagree wholly with the idea.
You know, and a big reason that Coke and Pepsi and Fritos and all that are included in SNAP is because they've lobbied for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a lot more money for them.
Let's just make SNAP a little real. Well, SNAP is $4.50 per day per person.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you do with that $5 a day, I don't really care. I hope you don't buy soda.
I hope you don't.
Maybe you should
The
buy a Big
federal
Mac.
reimbursement, the federal
it's still
reimbursement
$5.
is way more than that. The federal reimbursement for a day of work is way more than that. I'm getting paid more than that. I spent a week in Missoula this summer on the NSA's pocket because for a cybersecurity class. Oh wow! And I got a per diem. It's like $47.50 a day, and that's just for dinner. I mean,
well, you're a Harvard-educated bigwig.
Well, in Texas,
whatever, but
you can't use SNAP for farmers markets anymore now. In Texas,
that's the dumber thing.
Arkansas,
I mean,
and
those
all
are the
that.
dumb. Those are the dumb reasons.
So my whole thing on this is
I gotta hear it.
all right. Okay. So if a poor person spending $1.50 on a soda sends you into a moral panic,
Okay,
yet
yes.
you're completely silent on a billionaire writing off
fair enough.
his taxes for his yacht and his airplane, then your panic is about as cheap as
1
that
point,
fucking
Ryan.
soda. Okay.
1 point, Ryan. Yep. Yep.
Additionally, it's hard to be poor. It's tough to be poor. You know, I've gotten those emails where it's like, "Hey, it's your
work
bank.
with them every day. Yeah.
Hey, it's your bank. We noticed that you overdrafted your account by $2.13.
Yep.
So we've gone ahead and charged you a $35
Yep.
eat shit and die fee because
had
fuck
that.
you." Yeah. Okay.
Hope you have a good day.
Yeah, and to Kevin's point about Mike will probably back me up on this. I saw something from the Bureau of Labor Statistics today. The price of fresh vegetables are up 38%.
Oh, yes, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, vegetables are way up. Way up. yeah.
Everything is the cheapest fucking pack of hot dog buns is $3.68. You know what? And I'm not blaming the
Did it go
fucking
up since
moron in
last week?
charge.
Yep.
I know for a fact the president fucking doesn't necessarily affect that.
Yep.
I'm not a MAGA-tard. I don't just blame Biden for everything in the world.
Yeah.
I'm saying Trump might have something to do with it. He
Yeah.
might. He is our leader. But Jesus Christ, people are charging a lot for everything right now. And more importantly, we do have a president that doesn't give a fuck about it. We don't have any leaders in Montana that seem to give a fuck about it. Nobody's talking about
I
it.
think Congress is still on vacation.
They are on vacation.
You know, they
That's
earn
true.
$174K a year. They work.
They can
half
afford
time.
$7 tomatoes.
They're off on vacation. They're all gazillionaires to start
They are
with.
gazillionaires.
You know, you
Yeah.
think they worry what the pound of a coffee costs or a pound of a hamburger?
yeah.
No, they
No,
want to
they-
know when the next tariff's
they don't,
going
and they
in
don't
and when it's
know.
going to get delayed so that they can make more money in the stock market.
And, you know, another thought I have on that is, you know, because you kind of hear these same arguments come out when people say, and I understand your point, like they probably shouldn't be buying fucking Sour Patch Kids or
Yeah,
whatever
right.
with the food stamps. And people also say, well, they shouldn't be getting prepared food. They shouldn't be getting hot meals. And it's like, well, you can get a cooked, prepared rotisserie chicken at Walmart for $8. And if
they're $8 now.
and if you plan
that's a
that-
$3 fucking item a couple
You
years
got to go
ago.
to Costco. $5 at Costco.
Yeah.
well, I don't know if you can use your EBT at Costco.
They're $5 at Costco.
But you can get a full chicken, and that can feed a family for 2, maybe 3 meals.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
So that's one counterpoint I have to those people. And also another counterpoint I have is when it comes to prepared food, I'm not a complete piece of shit. So if someone wants to use their food stamp card to buy their kid a birthday cake on their birthday, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yes.
I totally.
$5 a day.
Right,
But Steve's not cool with cake every day.
right. It reminds me.
No.
It reminds me, Ed.
I like this one.
I'm not
I
going to
like-
go Marie Antoinette on you.
Well, it reminds me, Ed, of a quote. I think it was. It was either Ted Cruz or Steve Daines. I'm not really sure. It says, "For when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. Truly, as you did it to one of the least of my brothers, you did it to me."
Oh no, that was Donald Trump. He said that.
No, that was-
He said that.
that
No,
was-
he said that in the last campaign.
No, that was that gay ass woke Jesus guy again. God damn it! I could have swore that was
That's right.
that was Ted Cruz.
just another white guy.
The original
Just another
liberal.
white guy
Sorry,
that
It does. It does.
Those parts in the Bible that are red, yeah, you don't want to read those.
You're not supposed to take that stuff literally. It's
No.
figurative.
Yeah, right,
There's
yeah.
only certain parts you take literally.
Yeah.
We talked about
only
what
certain
about
parts.
these big companies like Walmart and Amazon, where over half their employees are on federal assistance.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
fucked. I
Oh,
mean, it's
yeah.
fucked. They're getting tax subsidies.
They even show their employees how to apply.
Yeah. And I mean, this is obviously how they run business. This is obviously super fucked. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. If you look at the nitty gritty of it, Lord Vader out. He can't hear anymore, really.
It's the very
no, don't. He
definition
barks when you do
of
that.
crony capitalism.
Yes, it really
It is. It
Right.
is.
And it is being horribly abused. It's so ugly and so sad. And again, we don't see either party really addressing it. But Bernie Sanders did bring it up a few years ago. He did. He said these corporations like Walmart and they shouldn't be getting these tax breaks. They should be paying for the health care and
They should
the
be,
food
100%,
assistance. Of
yeah.
course they should.
Without
But of
question.
course it went nowhere. I mean,
Not
it
enough
went
money to buy
nowhere.
the Denver Broncos. If you're the Walton family, I think you have enough money to pay your employees a living wage.
It seems like it.
No,
Although
it's-
there's a lot. They have a lot of employees,
Yeah.
Walmart ranked among the top
and
4
then they want to
employers.
take away their
who-
soda from the employees that are getting SNAP, so they can't even use their SNAP benefits
Right.
to get soda at Walmart.
And like we were just talking about
That's insane.
with Governor Schweitzer and with Mike, it's one of the things that drives me nuts about the Democrats is they always get hung up, hemming and hawing over exact talking points like that. Well, like, oh well,
Yes.
maybe you're right. They shouldn't be buying junk food. It's like, no, fuck you. Let them buy
study
whatever they
group.
want.
Do I see- I see a study group
Jesus
coming.
Christ,
Buy whatever you want. It's $5.
Right, exactly. Would you trade positions with this person who's hard up and down on their luck? Probably not.
You want to go down to Marcus and buy
Right.
penny candy? Do it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're not going to get too far.
Okay.
$5 at
You
market.
changed my mind. It's just another distraction from all of the crazy shit that's actually happening.
It's one of
That's
those things
The bigger
that's-
picture things
Yeah.
that are a huge problem.
And especially
I-
when we didn't audit the bailout money that we gave Wall Street. We didn't have to ask any questions where that money went.
No.
Who knows how much of that money was spent on bonuses and summer parties in the Hamptons. Yet we're upset that some poor guy
Snacks.
buys a couple of Cokes. Like, I get it. On its face, I understand it, but once you go a little
Yeah,
bit deeper, I
I
think
know.
it falls.
This is an
They're-
RFK thing,
Local
isn't it?
local
Make America
corporations.
healthy again.
Yeah, we'll start with the poorest people because they're the most likely to be healthy.
Yeah.
But the sugar lobby is a big lobby.
Oh, it's very powerful.
I mean, it's one of the
it
most
is.
powerful lobbies, and you never know how powerful they are, but they're big.
Oh yeah, there's it's another issue I have with the Make America Healthy people. They're doing victory laps talking about, well, they're putting real sugar into soda, and it's like, well, encouraging more people to drink soda in general probably isn't as healthy as you think it is, whether it's high fructose corn syrup or real sugar.
That depends on who your
That's because
sponsor
they
is.
hate that's because they hate the corn farmers.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I hate Chuck Grassley, so
So corn, now you bring it up, 4 years ago was $13.80 a bushel. It's like $4.50 now. It's crashing.
Oh yeah.
What the
I
fuck?
think it's because of the export.
But everything that is made out of corn, I think it is.
Yeah.
But everything's got corn in it.
Oh, I
And
know.
everything's going up incredibly expensive. But farmers are getting crushed right now on this. How, What, Mike? You got anything for that? I don't get. How the fuck's it losing? It's lost 75% of its value in the last 4 years.
The markets are gone. The markets are chaotic. It's hard to get rid of stuff.
Is it because of the tariffs and like?
I think it's because of the tariffs.
China's not buying from
and
us,
because countries have other options. They can go to Brazil, and they can get it without nonsense.
Yeah. It is crazy, though, how much corn is in everything. The other day, I was walking down the cereal aisle. My kid's getting to that age where he, like, you know, he can pick out the cereal boxes that are specifically marketed to 3.5-year-olds.
Lucky Charms.
And I saw a box
with bunnies or the ones with.
Well, I saw a box with corn pops, and I kind of laughed to myself.
Gluten-free,
I was like, there's more corn in cigarettes than, you know, this cereal, for God's sake.
In corn pops.
You know, give me a break. Corn pops? Like, give me a break.
But all your grains, all of this. I mean, it's nuts. And now, last time when Trump was president, there was a lot of subsidy money because of the tariff shit he did in other countries. And here's what I don't get and why I don't see where it's fucking smart though. Like, okay, you learned your lesson last time. You had to give billions and billions to the farmers all across America because the market went away because China started buying from other people. People don't understand how much China has a middle class of 500 million people.
They buy a lot of pork.
15 years ago, their middle class was zero. Okay,
they buy a lot of soy.
They buy a lot of everything.
A lot of pork.
So, and other countries now. So this was 4 years ago. Last time he was president. And these other countries started finding new buyers or new sellers, and then America woos them back. And I'm not going to say it was Joe Biden or Democrats that did it, but they wooed them back. The tariffs went away. We're doing international trade again with our grains, with our soy, with our corn, and now all of a sudden we're not again. Meanwhile, these other countries are competing for this business. Now they know already they have these buyers. So I don't even know if it's possible to smooth it over again because these other countries that are getting more technically advanced, like Brazil, Argentina, all over the world, Africa. I mean, people are growing shit everywhere. How can we be competitive now when we've fucked over the world twice in the last?
The multinationals are working all over the planet. They don't have to just work in our corn.
Jolly Green Giant doesn't give a fuck where the field is, right?
No.
Right?
No.
Okay, that's a big part of it. So what do they care what happens to the American economy?
They don't.
They don't give a fuck.
They have one duty, and that's to the shareholders.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So here's, we were talking about capitalism, and I'm going to go off script a little bit. I just want to bring in the idea.
I think I just went off script.
I mean, I do.
We have a
I do
script.
think it's something. I think it's something really important to talk about is the fact that Trump is trying to cut deals with chip companies now.
Right.
To where they have to pay the United States or pay him. Maybe it's just right into his
Probably
own
him.
bank account.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He's not
In order to bring their chips back into the United States from being manufactured overseas.
Yeah, he's talking about nationalizing Intel, buying a 10% stake in Intel.
Right. Exactly. He already did it with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Right.
It was more than 10% with NVIDIA, I think. And it's like, when we talk about these people cry socialism all the time when you try to say anything about healthcare or any sort of economic transfer from the rich class to the poor class. They cry socialism all the time, but they're willing to just let this happen where now there's a government stake in private business.
Right.
And how does that affect? These long-term effects are not going to be felt right away.
No, God, no. No, but they're going to make a lot of money
But
off of it in
domestic
the
and foreign
meantime.
policy is going to be
It's all
affected
about them making
by
money.
whether by whether or not NVIDIA is allowed to what NVIDIA is doing.
It's all about the money.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
money. Yes.
Giuseppe?
Yeah. No. Well.
No, well, Steve, I think my answer, and maybe I'm just being cynical, is that all these right-wing grifters that talk about socialism and they scream it from the mountaintops, they know that they're not bargaining in good faith. They know that their intellectual understanding of all this stuff is just skin deep, or an inch
Not
deep.
even.
And they know that they just their whole model is move a little bit farther to the right until they stake out their market share, and then it's separate money from idiot. And that's it.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Okay.
So it's like,
You're right.
they say whatever Biden does is socialist, whatever Buttigieg does is socialist.
Yep.
And then,
And gay, for
And then,
sure.
and then when we buy a 10% stake in NVIDIA or Intel.
Not buy, require. in order for them to
crazy.
import their chips.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. Well, that's the deal maker making deals.
And not even the best ones.
And that's why it's so difficult to have an honest conversation with these people, because they're not bargaining in good faith
No,
to
it's
begin
impossible.
with.
Is it because they're not bargaining in good faith, or they just don't fucking understand?
It's probably a little bit of
Like
both.
they've just been conditioned to understand that any sort of national health care program is socialist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they've been programmed.
But if the president can broker a deal where the United States has a 10% share in NVIDIA, that's not socialist.
Okay.
I think your J.D. Vances of the world, your Ted Cruzes of the world are smart enough to understand that, and they are bargaining in bed.
They are making money. Now, listen, this brings Ted Koppel 20 years ago interviewed Sean Hannity, or he's on Sean Hannity's show, I believe. It's like 15, maybe 20 years ago. And Sean's like, well, what do you think of me, or what do you think of her? He goes, I think it's absolutely horrible. I think what you're doing to the American public is a disservice. I think you're very bad for America. And, Hannity's like, what? He goes, well, listen, you're convincing people to vote on ideology, not what matters to them.
Right.
All of you people, everybody in this industry now, this opinion news industry. I mean, I urge everybody to Google this Koppel interview with Hannity. It's amazing, because that is why people think that Biden is a socialist, that Democrats are socialists, that's why they're evil. Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity. This narrative has been out there for now 30 years. They've been really pumping it through. And to be honest, people just aren't fucking smart enough to read through the lines.
Well, you look at like Medicaid, right? Medicaid healthcare. Medicaid
Socialism.
polls at 65%
People want it.
across America,
Yep.
across every spectrum of politics.
'Cause
It
they're all
polls
using it.
off the charts. And so Republicans, what they figured out is like, oh, it is actually popular. And so what we're going to do is we're going to slash the funding on the other side of it. And they talked about, they're going to lose $2.2 billion out of Montana hospitals over the next 10 years because of the funding cuts. But the Republicans figured out that it's popular, and that's why they didn't slash the actual program like they did last time, because they lost the midterms just terribly after that cycle. And so now they're trying to do it in this sneaky way, but with the same effect, where it's going to make people's lives much harder and much more painful and much more outrageous. I mean, you even look at like the ACA, the American Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, that one that they misnamed. They should call it Trump Care, so we can get on with it. Whatever. I don't care what the hell.
It would have been much better if it had been
fucking
Obamacare. It was Boehner Care.
Call it
That's what they should have.
whatever you want.
The first fake care.
Montana's looking at like 75% increases in those premiums for people who go on the exchange and buy private insurance. 75. That is the largest increase in America. Not only are we the most least affordable state in the nation, our insurance rates are the highest increases anywhere in America.
It's amazing. I mean, it's mind blowing. But again, only people that are going to really fix that or care to fix it are the Democratic Socialist people, the bad people, the boogeyman, because that's who you see caring about these issues.
So how do we get Gavin Newsom? So how do we get Gavin Newsom's car involved in this so that he can troll people in the opposite direction?
What kind of card is
I got this fucking dude. I don't know where my phone went.
He showed me a picture of somebody with
I'm gonna find it.
The exact opposite of what we see around here with the the American flag and the Confederate flag in the back and all the.
Oh, it was like Gavin.
But it was all for Gavin Newsom. So how does Gavin Newsom untroll or re-troll this into a positive spin that gets people to vote for Democrats?
Right.
I mean, that's the reason people vote for Republicans is because they've been trolled in this way that they think about it in absolutely the wrong terms.
But it's been also decades of it. It was pre-Trump.
Yeah, true.
You got to put Limbaugh into there.
Yeah, you got to put old Rush
all the way back to Ronald. I blame everything on Ronald Reagan, honestly. Like when he said government is the problem, I was like, that's where it really starts. But
Ed lost his phone.
But it keeps going from there. Sorry, I cut you off, Mike.
Well, I think the funny thing that I just thought of when you were talking about the Gavin Newsom truck, and now that you say that, I remember that, where it's like, everything is decked out Gavin Newsom on this truck. It's the kind of refrain, again, not to harp on Epstein again, but whenever I would talk about Epstein and people would say, well, if Trump's on there, Bill Clinton's going to be on the Epstein list too. And I go, okay, well then I guess I'll have to get rid of my Bill Clinton shoes, my, fuck your feelings Bill Clinton shirt, my Bill Clinton, make America great flag, my Bill Clinton Bible, my Bill Clinton fucking NFT coin, my Bill Clinton cologne, my Bill Clinton steaks. Like, give me a break. But it's a cult.
No, it's not a cult.
Yeah,
it can't be.
Look at this last one.
Gavin Newsom is way down in the polls. He is viewed.
New scum.
He is new scum. Nice. He is viewed as the man who is destroying the once great state of California. I will save California, President DJT.
Oh, he didn't say thank you for your attention to this matter.
I thought he left California. Was trying to save D.C.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
Well, he can walk and chew gum at the same time, I think.
Do you guys like the war with Newsom and Trump now? Like,
I like it.
I like it. When I like the most is fucking
Somebody's fighting back. I
is
mean, what
Fox
the
News
fuck?
talking about how childish and immature
I know.
Newsom is for texting in all caps on social media.
Is this all about Newsom's ex-wife?
Right.
Oh,
Well,
Well, there
and-
is that connection,
and
which
you-
is
no,
weird.
it's Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Guilfoyle.
Well, okay. To be
hideous.
fair to MAGA and to Trump, let me play devil's advocate here. MAGA, they don't like Gavin Newsom because he comes from a privileged background with money.
Yeah.
He is divorced.
whoops.
He did have an affair.
Are you talking about Trump?
And
What?
he did not serve in the military, so they don't like Gavin for those reasons.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, it
yeah.
doesn't sound like this guy's fit to be president.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Not at all. No.
Isn't his aunt the one and only Nancy Pelosi?
I don't
Isn't
know.
that his aunt or
It
No.
really wouldn't surprise me.
great aunt, something like that?
I know his
He's
dad
related
was
to-
a-
I'm pretty sure he's related to Nancy Pelosi.
I know his dad was a lawyer for Getty Oil back in the day.
Oh,
Did you get that picture I sent you, Kevin?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That
But
was
I don't know.
cool.
I kind of like all this stuff. I know Mike doesn't like the drama, but I'm kind of a messy bitch, so I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is kind of fun to watch someone drive the Republicans crazy by doing the same shit.
Yes.
Theater's
we
good.
don't, we
I
just
mean,
don't
did
want-
you see
we don't need the
Zel-
drama in Montana. I think that's Mike's
Yeah,
point.
did you see Zelensky at the White House? You know,
did.
he put on his gold suit.
know.
They couldn't find him in the Oval Office because he was wearing his camouflage.
Blended into the
Yeah,
wall,
He just
yeah.
blended right in.
Yeah, there it is. There's the Gavin
Oh,
Newsom as
there we
vice
go.
president.
I
That's
see
hilarious.
now. I mean, this.
Now, can they see that?
Oh,
sweet.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, this. It's probably AI. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, it's 100% AI.
okay. But you can't tell anymore.
Yeah,
you really
no.
can't. So those hot chicks that message me, you don't think are real?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh,
You got AI reviewers like
yeah.
you and Amazon.
man.
yeah, those
Son of a
12,000, those
But
12,000
she
new
told me
numbers,
she
yeah.
loved me.
But
yeah.
I think the crazy thing
11,000
is
are chat
is
bots.
probably 60%, maybe 70% of the country makes fucking fun of these people. You know what I mean?
Oh, God,
Like
yes.
they really do.
Yes.
And like now you got Charlie Kirk laughing about South Park, like he's in on the joke. Like all of them are doing this. Christy Nome, Like, no, you're not in on the joke. You're horrible fucking people. You did not. This was no landslide election.
Yeah.
You all fuckers are so lucky to be where you are. Act like it.
Well,
I would like to say, act like it, because they all act like their shit doesn't stink. They're there for a reason,
Yeah.
for the right reason, because all of America wants them there. This is how they come off. Like that's how Trump comes off. Like everybody loves him. You know, like. That is very far, and that's never going to happen in American politics.
I think Charlie Kirk and Christy Nahom are their response to South Park was very
Embarrassing,
like
for them.
synthetic and very clearly cultivated by their crew. And it's
Yes,
like,
of
okay,
course.
you're
Here's
going
how
to
we
go out there and you're going
combat
to go,
This is so
I'm not
funny.
mad at all.
Oh my God. Trey Parker and
So
Mel Son are
funny.
so funny. They just nailed it. Cartman did such a good job of being me. I mean, dude, when you lose,
And it's like, you see Charlie
you
Kirk,
lose.
when Charlie Kirk smiles, I mean, Joe Peck's probably got
I
horses
can't-
on his farm with less gums than that
Oh,
guy.
without a doubt he does.
I mean, it's
Without a
crazy.
doubt.
It's like 7 inches of
Dude, he is
it's
Butthead.
nuts.
He is the
He
real
really-
life
yeah.
Butthead.
He is
I can't believe how
That's
much
funny.
he fucking looks like Butthead.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like I comment a lot on social media posts. I'm like, gosh, I can't believe you haven't been cast for a Butthead movie. I mean, it's perfect.
Oh, Charlie Kirk.
Oh, dude, he's just unbelievable.
What a
It is-
clown.
Well, but
Seems
and-
to be
and
working
again,
with Gavin.
Okay, so
These
it
polls.
does. His Twitter's blowing up.
Now these polls, they're all meaningless, right? We're talking 2028. It's 2025. Trump was polling at 0% in 2015 before he won the election.
True.
So,
You're right.
Doesn't
matter. You're right. No,
This
it
is
doesn't
the
matter.
politics of all attention is good attention.
Right. Exactly. So, well, I do have fun with it. it's superficial. I understand that this is probably not going to move the needle in 2028 one way or the other.
Well, God, with so much awful stuff happening across America, we need some lighthearted stuff to laugh at.
I
We
agree
do,
with you.
and they are doing a good job.
What's the funny stuff? I'm sorry, I missed it. I had to go to the bathroom.
Gallows humor, Steve.
Always have to look on the good side
I was
of
looking
life.
for
right?
something funny this week because it was
Like,
all
that
so
was a
sad
Monty
to me.
Python song. It's
Right,
like-
yeah. Always look on the bright
Side of life.
So the old when they go low,
I
we
think
go
they're on the
high
cross
thing.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that's over?
Probably.
Did Newsom kind of get rid of that?
Probably.
Once
I
and for
think-
because I'm all for it now. I
Yeah,
am.
I think
Because you're never going to fight stupid and win.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you're not. You're not going to fight ignorance and win. You're not going to fight ill-informed people, underinformed people. You're just not. People are going to believe what they want. And that's how it is.
Right.
And right now, if you're hitting them in the pocketbook, it ain't fucking working. Because their pocketbooks are getting hurt. This income gap is widening every fucking day. And you still have people loving the fuck out of Trump and still calling Newsom, he's Newsom's somehow the fascist. The Democrats
Yeah.
are the communists. They're the fascist party. All of it. It's
Yeah.
fucking nuts. I mean, I do think the Democrats have a lot of grassroots kind of shit to do, and Newsom's definitely not the kind of guy to do that. I think maybe James Telrico is.
Right.
Bashir could be. I don't know. I think they can't have any ties to Biden at all.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I think the days of, trying to have honest debates and conversations with these
That's done.
with these MAGA people is over.
Yeah.
I liken it to
You're not having it.
you're trying to drown a vampire with your own blood.
Yes.
He loves it. He can't get enough.
You're dying.
Yeah, you're
never
killing
gonna make it
yourself.
through it. You're
and
never
he's
gonna win.
loving it. He can't get enough. Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
But it's coming back. I was reminding myself.
I don't
just-
think Mike's going to go there.
just today that when did the Civil War end? The Civil War
65?
ended
65.
1865.
100 years before I was born.
Do you mean the War of Northern Aggression?
Yeah, only 100 years before I was born, we were in Civil War.
Fucking
Yeah.
Yankees.
When I was born, we still had Jim Crow laws in America.
Yeah.
We
did.
so that's 3 lifetimes
We're
we're
always
talking
changing.
about.
Right. We had, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but you mentioned the Civil War, you mentioned Jim Crow. It's crazy to me that we have the people that threw rocks at Ruby Bridges. Remember, she was the young girl in Louisiana.
Yeah.
The people that screamed and threw rocks at the Little Rock Nine when they integrated those schools are now the same people
That are
that
voting for Trump?
that are saying we can't talk about slavery in schools, and they're also the same people that are saying, well, we need to put these Confederate statues back up. So it's history when it's a Confederate statue, but when
Yes.
you're in the museum and it's talking about the history of slavery and how that was bad,
Or
well,
gay
that's-
people.
That's not the kind of history we want to talk
Or gay
about.
people. You know what he said about the Smithsonian? They don't talk about it enough about the future.
I know.
It's a fucking museum.
Well, right,
I mean,
yeah.
goddamn.
I think-
is that hair a dunce cap?
I think he
Right.
was talking specifically about the Museum of Black American History.
No, he was talking about the Smithsonian. in
Well,
this
I mean,
article.
This
that
is like the new
he
woke
took,
movement.
Yeah.
He takes serious issue with the American history, the History Museum of Black American or
Oh, yeah,
Black
well, of
American
course.
History
I would,
Museum,
too, if I
whatever.
was a racist.
It's like a separate part of it. And if you've ever been in there,
if I was an honorary
if
KKK
you've ever
member,
been in
I
there,
would never go there.
it starts out, it's actually it's interesting the way that the floors go up in that particular museum, because it starts out at the base. It starts out at the lowest level, 1620, when the first African slave came to
wow.
America.
Oh, I see.
And then by the time you're at the top, you're in the hip hop era. So you're
black people are
so
making
you're,
money.
Yeah, so you're
And
so it
poisoning
goes
white
through
people's
this.
minds.
So it goes through this circle of
Molly, I'm sweating.
it goes through this.
Cop
It goes
killer.
through this. It goes through this history of African American people, of Black Americans, because
the fucking
that's
police
what
people.
it's fucking supposed to do. It's the fucking
Right.
Smithsonian. It's our national museum for a national minority
But it doesn't fit
that
his
has been
narrative.
here since the fucking founding of our country.
But it doesn't fit his narrative. Anything that doesn't fit,
250 years is how long we had slaves. 250
time.
years.
a long time.
and we have not been around much longer than that.
I
That
think
is amazing.
When Trump talks about the future, I think he just wants to go on the rocket ship ride at
Well,
Epcot
he
at
even
Disney
said,
World. I
he
think
even
that's what he's talking
mentioned,
about.
he visited the museum in like 2016 or something like that, and he said, I actually like it. I like the way that what they've done with the modern era. And All that's
in May,
lost.
he
It
said-
now he wants to shut it down because it's
But
not.
he was in a
smart
space
enough
of
or
air.
good
but he's-
enough.
Listen, dude, it's either he's senile or he's fucking with us or whatever. Because in May he said crime in D.C. was down 25%. We're doing an incredible job. Now it's the worst city in America.
Well-
and they got their talking points. It's worse than Tobago or wherever the fuck. What do you call it? The condo of Africa or
Well,
something.
we got the new numbers guys in there. You know, we
It's
didn't
the-
like
you
the
got
old
new
numbers
numbers
guys.
It's the authoritarian playbook.
Well,
You
it is. Well,
rewrite
okay,
history,
and that's a good
whitewash it.
segue. That's a segue into this fucking the National Guard and the troops in D.C.
Yeah.
You know, so we have 5 states now sending troops into D.C.
Yeah.
5 fucking states, and these states include some of the most violent cities in America. Okay, in D.C., the violent crime is 11.5 people in every 1,000.
Right.
In Virginia, Petersburg, 13.4 out of every 1,000. Union, South Carolina, 92 out of 1,000. Ohio, 64 out of 1,000. Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, 40 out of 1,000. Highest homicide rate per capita in America happens in Jackson, Mississippi. And Louisiana, it's Marksville, Louisiana, 22.1 people out of every 1,000. So each one of these cities, these are only cities, have a higher crime rate and a worse crime rate in every single category than Washington, D.C.
Yeah, but
they're all sending troops for this show.
they'll say, yeah, but those are blue cities in red states.
They're going to say that, but the populations would differ. Because I wrote the statistics for the populations
Union,
of
South
black
Carolina's
people,
a
too.
blue city?
You know? No.
exactly.
I grew up in South Carolina. I don't even know where that is, but I assume it's somewhere in the upcountry somewhere.
Union City is 56% white, okay, to give you an example. A lot of these communities are pretty much right there, 60-40, whatever.
Okay.
With one, let's see, it was Marksville was 70% white, you know, and I mean that's pretty that's a pretty violent city, you know. So I think you can throw I think you
know what
should,
it is?
and you
You know
have
what
to
it
throw
is?
race out of race out of all of this. You
No.
absolutely have to. You know,
It's the immigrants. It's the
Well,
immigrants
okay.
bringing the.
Other than
it's
that,
all the
you're right.
Mexican
You gotta bring
cartels
something
bringing the
else
drugs
into
in.
this. Yeah, you got to bring
that's
something else.
what it is.
Something
Yeah.
else into this as well. You know, DC's different. DC's a federal district. It's
is
called
different.
out
That's
in the
what it is.
Constitution.
and they can do it there.
You know, it's mostly run by the feds already. That 10-mile square.
but it's the majority of America.
But what's wrong with community policing?
Oh, well,
You know, okay, so the
you don't need
locals
the
won't
National
put
Guard.
police on the streets.
You're right.
You
Right.
know, they're all hiding behind their computers and looking
Yep.
for crime wherever. And this is community policing. We just don't like that they're not trained for community policing.
No, and they're very scary looking and intimidating.
They are.
And we think it's setting up for the future. You know, it is.
It is.
So when it comes to voting time next year, we're going to have troops at all our polling stations, at least in the blue states. We
Yep.
can all see it coming. I just don't get
10 drums and Nixon coming
for that in Ohio. Oh, yeah, Kent State's happening.
So Ed, I have
Those
another.
that on their knees.
I have another quote for you, Ed.
Okay, I like that. I
Let's
love
see.
quotes.
Let's see if you can guess this.
Okay.
So it says, if the president federalizes the National Guard, that would be a direct attack on states' rights. Over the last several years, we've seen the federal government try to take away our freedoms, our freedom of religion, assembly, and speech. We can't let them take away the right to defend ourselves too. We must defend the Constitution.
I want to say
that's
Donald
got to be
Trump.
AOC.
I
That's
want to
got
say
to be
Donald
AOC.
Trump, but I'm thinking Ted Cruz.
That was Kristi Noem on Sean Hannity,
Kristi
February
Noem.
6th of
Kristi
2024,
Noem.
talking about Joe Biden and the boogeyman where he was going
apparently he was gonna send- yeah.
to mobilize the national.
Well,
Guard.
Obama was going to do that for all 8 years. Remember that? Oh, here's another thing
I
that's
remember.
fucking
Come
really
get your
weird.
guns. That's what they were.
So you
doing.
know,
Remember Jade Helm? The
yes.
Obama
Oh yeah,
thing?
yep.
Yeah, that-
So remember, like back that when we're talking about the Proud Boys,
Wait,
and
Kristi
Oath
Noem's a
Keepers and
Democrat,
these
right?
guys.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, these militant groups that have all, this made me think of this. These are the people signing up for ICE.
That's good money.
More money than they've ever made in their
$100,000
lives.
plus a $50,000 bonus.
You know, and if you reach your quotas, you're getting more money. But think about this.
Well, they
Now-
got to get their nut,
Now-
just like South Park.
Now
Oh,
these
no, yeah,
people,
they do need to get
say
their
you get a
nut.
Democrat win
I
in
got a
3.5
big nut.
years. You get a Democrat win, you get a Democrat House, a Democrat Senate. Say America does say, fuck this shit. We're not a bunch of fucking fascists, okay? Now we're going to have our own Nuremberg trials here in America for every one of these fucking ICE agents that beat the fuck out of people, that did all this. Now, it is entirely possible that happens. I know you're shaking your head. It's not going to happen.
Democrats aren't going to do that.
Well, I'm just saying they might have to.
they wouldn't even prosecute the bankers in
Dude,
2008.
no. And you're right. Well, because they give them money. You don't hurt people that give you money.
right, yeah.
You love them. You nurture them.
Yeah,
You
the
do
only
whatever they
reason
say.
Bernie Madoff went to jail, got so much trouble, is because he stole from the rich.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was his death knell right
And,
there.
well, and to answer your question earlier, Steve, it's Kristi Noem's dogs are Democrats.
Oh,
Doesn't-
that's what it is.
doesn't turn out
yep,
too well
yep,
for
yep, yep, yep,
You
yep,
know
yep.
the Noem family.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you
She
know.
had to shoot him in the head, right?
Mike,
that what it
real
was?
quick, tell us what you know about this. This is a Montana thing. That Abby Lee Cook.
I have no idea who that person is.
See, I don't know her either, but
you know, it certainly smells like the consultants class swamp out of Helena.
Yeah.
to
was
me.
Nyland talking about this? I bet he was. I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sure
Some
he is
kinda-
talking.
yeah,
He's
about
gotta
it.
be
he was-
talking
So you
about.
got this swamp stuff happening in Helena, which is just terrible. You got the drama coming out of Missoula, which no one can seem to get enough of.
Right.
And it's no wonder we can't get anywhere. These guys are stealing people blind. It's terrible.
awful.
Yeah, skimming off the top.
Right.
It's
Set up a consulting
skimming
company.
off the top.
and-
What wasn't Gianforte get
String
in
'em up.
trouble for skimming off the top? You know, he
String
did
'em
it
up.
legally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he still has $2 billion, or doesn't he still have a trust fund in there?
slush
or a
fund.
Slush fund?
Yeah.
Haven't
That-
heard from that in a while.
No, we haven't. We haven't heard about his slush fund in a while.
How much money is that bringing in these days?
The slush fund?
Yeah.
Oh God, it must be millions of dollars in interest.
Well, it was $80 million back in January. So
Yeah.
What was?
The slush fund.
Gianforte's slush fund on the $2 billion.
What do you think
in,
the interest since we first brought it up? I mean, you
COVID
think
money.
about the couple $100,000, like
Oh yeah.
that money just keeps growing.
It's probably 7% a year they're
You know,
making.
and we have communities just fighting for bonds for schools,
I know.
for jails, for things that these communities really need, and we've got a government here just putting money in an account,
Yeah.
making money off the interest, putting things in mutual funds. Like it's just, I don't get it. I'll never will. So
okay,
whatever.
before I
right,
forget,
yes.
we were talking about DC.
We have
and
is this your special news story of the week?
This is not. Mine is
Okay.
not that serious. But before I forget about DC and the National Guard, I feel like this should scare way more people than it really does.
Yes.
Right?
It is
National
scaring a
Guard in
lot.
Like,
But you're right. There should be outrage. Chris Cuomo should be talking about this news. Dan Abrams should be talking about the news.
I mean,
CNN should be talking about it. All of them should be not Fox, of
We've
course.
got-
but they're not really talking about
we've
it.
got masked, unidentifiable troops,
Yes.
marching the streets of DC.
Anybody could do this.
And
I could go
they're
put a mask
They're
on.
pulling people over for traffic violations.
Yes.
A city
in
that-
an unmarked with no license plate.
Right.
I want to kind of try it. Take the license
Right.
plates off my black truck and put a mask on and some
We'll
black
see you in
stuff.
El Salvador.
They're marching in the streets that
I'm impersonating a fake cop. What? You can't impersonate something that's an impersonator.
yeah.
But you could do it.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
I think it should scare way more people than it does. You've got
Without a
You've got
doubt.
massless goons, unidentifiable, marching the streets that Trump says are on fire when we can all see they're not.
They're not.
I
It's
think
down
that
30%.
and
crime's
they
down
already
30%
have-
in the
Well,
last
that's
4
the right.
years.
They want to say that about liberal cities, of course.
they already have all your
And
information.
they use one.
One murder, one crime.
No,
Yep.
one crime, an attempted carjacking
Oh yeah, of a
two
page or somebody.
15-year-old kids
Big balls.
of Big Balls.
Big Balls
You
got
think this wasn't
Who's
set
Big
up?
Balls?
You think that the assassination was a setup?
Big balls was the
Yeah.
Doge guy.
This
Oh yeah.
this
yeah.
is the
Yeah.
the most recognizable Doge guy who
Yeah.
probably was not actually attempted to be carjacked. This thing whole
Probably
thing
not.
is
No, I
set
think.
up.
So-
They're
This-
setting everything
this
up.
is just grievance. Look, more people should have turned out at the parade. Okay,
Yeah.
if the
You're-
streets were full
you're right.
during the
That-
parade,
Oh,
there would
the
be
birthday.
troops not in that city.
So the point I'm trying to make here
Yes. Come on. We got to finish this show. You need to get your
is
point.
that it should scare people that we've got these goons marching on streets that the president says are on fire when we can all see they're not.
Yep.
And all these goons, they have all your information through Doge. They've got it through Peter Thiel's company,
Yep,
Planeteer.
yes.
And now they get to decide
Project
what
2025.
goes and what doesn't. And if this doesn't make you nervous, I think you're flat out insane. I remember years ago when I would listen to Alex Jones in early 2000s.
Okay, you were all fucked up
always-
back then.
This
though.
was
You were on
always
heroin.
the stuff that a guy like Alex Jones was talking about. He's saying,
Always.
you're going to have military in the streets. You're going to have
helicopters.
tech companies looking over your shoulder. You're going to have, we have the documents.
You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
You're all
sounds
safe.
like Bo Gretz.
And then, Alex he and Aaron Rodgers went off the deep end with the Sandy Hook shit.
Kinda.
But
Why do you got to bring A-Raj into it?
you know, and then my thought with this is, where are guys like Alex Jones
sucks.
now?
Or where's the
Like, where is
NRA?
he?
Well,
now.
he's being
Right?
sued a lot. I
Right?
think.
Well, he's a
no, he
huge-
was crying the other day because the Epstein files haven't
Yeah,
released.
he's
He
a-
actually was crying.
He's a huge fan of Trump, and you'd think these "don't tread on me" people that never shut up during Obama and Biden.
Yep.
You know,
One big
would
ass
be
mistake,
would be,
America.
Imagine if they had
would
troops on
be
the streets.
would
yeah.
be up in
Oh,
arms
they
about
fucking
this thing.
lose it.
You'd
Well,
think
they
they'd
would
be up in
absolutely
arms.
lose their
Let me
minds.
ask you guys this. Look, when the Vikings do poorly, do you dump on them?
Yes.
You dump on them. So
course.
the sports team is different
course.
than the political team.
I think that putting
I always
military in
dump
the
on my
streets
team
is
when they
is
suck.
acting poorly.
Yeah.
I do.
Dump on the coach.
And I don't think that you should be a Republican or a Democrat to have a problem with it. But you're right. Not enough people are fucking saying shit about this or care.
I mean-
I care a lot. This is fucked up.
The
I
NRA
mean, you know,
people that don't tread
No,
on
You know
me.
what happens with this God's plan thing?
Tread
There
on
was some
me.
gangsters shooting another gangster in D.C. That's God's plan. Leave the fucking military out of it. These are the God's plan, people.
Right.
I mean, it's like there's a lot of things. The number one thing is it is all pure bullshit, for sure. All of it. It is all there to make Trump look like he is this fucking mad, awesome, leader that. Do you see the goddamn fucking portrait they just put up in the West Wing?
I'm sure it's classy.
Fucking Google it. It's gross. It's gross. It is.
But it seems to me like Congress likes it. Everything that's happening, Congress
Well, the Republicans
likes
do, yeah.
because they're not saying anything.
You're
They
right,
don't
they're
have
not.
any problem with
Nobody's really
it.
saying
They're
anything.
all on paid vacation right now. Haven't heard a peep out of any single one of them.
And you think you would.
And so they must
Yeah.
like it.
More Avpov sauce
don't
for your
know.
ribeye? Oh, yes, sir.
I don't
Here's
know.
here's one thing that I'll say. I did see Ryan Zinke on the Friday night of the Under the Big Sky Music Festival in Marcus, of all places.
No shit.
Well,
Late
that's where all the
night
rich people shop.
after we took the bus home. He was in there. I was trying to buy beer for me and my cousin.
What was he getting? Penny candy?
And I didn't
You
really
got
pay
cocaine
attention
in
to
the
what
deli.
I was just shocked to see him. So I was like, "Oh, hey, Ryan, how you doing?"
What do you mean you're out of caviar? Yeah.
And he was hammered.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
I
is when you see it.
I would just have to
I would
say,
be too if I was him.
Right.
I think, the two things he said to me. He said, "Oh, hi, Steve. I do remember you." That was one thing. And I was like, "Oh,
did you
thanks."
feel special?
I did. I really did.
I would.
And then he said, "I would much rather be in the Navy SEALs than doing what I'm doing now." And
You
I
didn't
was like,
have to run again.
"That's what I said."
I
I said,
know.
"Wait, why did you run again?" And then I forget what we said after that.
It's
I
all
wasn't
lies.
completely sober either,
But he's
but it
like,
was pretty
"Oh."
funny. It was pretty funny. And then I told my cousin about who he was, and I was like, "Yeah, this is the guy who rode his horse to work on his first day as a Secretary
Boy
of the
Scout suit, I
Interior."
think.
And my cousin, who is a lifelong Republican, by the way, but not a Trump Republican, a George W. Bush Republican,
Those don't exist.
just laughed his ass off for like 25 minutes as we walked home to my house.
Like he
from
was like,
Marcus.
that was that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all a joke. Trump
But
just
but
said,
I, but
"Oh, there's
but I
the
think
picture."
but I think Zinke,
Fake
Zinke
assassination attempt. Yeah.
Zinke,
AI?
Zinke understands. Zinke gets it. He's from Montana. He knows that he is just faking the people out in
Well,
this
yeah,
whole
without a doubt.
Everything he does, he knows is a lie, except for maybe some of the tax cuts that he actually believes
Well,
in.
they-
But he doesn't
I
vote
think
for
they
these things
all
with
look
a
at it
straight
differently
face.
than we do. They all look at it. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them do look at it as kind of a joke. It's not a big deal. They won. Now their life is paved. What do they give a fuck?
Well, they're also not listening to anybody.
No,
when was
they don't
the
have
last
to.
time they actually held a live town hall and listened to
exactly.
anybody on
You know how many
real
people
life
that do that
issues?
are Democrats that lose elections or are going to lose
yeah.
elections. They all hold town halls, I mean, and you get a bunch of pissed off Democrats that show up at them, and that's about it. Republicans are just on cruise control in a place like Montana. I hope with Joe Peck at the head of the chair of the Democratic Party it would change. I mean, but here, like Trump today called Netanyahu a war hero, and I guess you could call me one too. That's what he said. He says Benjamin Netanyahu is a war hero, and I guess you could call me one too. Where's this guy come up with this stuff?
History will not be kind.
People
I hope not,
I
unless
think
we're living
Net-
in Macho
What
Commando
he
time.
comes up with it from social media. I mean, somebody calls him a war hero in one of his posts, and that's their
And he takes
that's
it to
their
the fucking
yes,
next level.
exactly. That's
You're right.
all the guy listens to.
You're right. Like Tucker Carlson.
Other
in his
than
podcast,
Fox News.
Tucker Carlson, which I thought was starting to get a little more normal, and I don't know what he was doing and why, just being pissed at Fox, but he seemed to be a little anti-Trump lately. Okay, that relationship is over. He just said that he thinks that we're on our way to a dictatorship.
Yeah. On our way.
But he's on our way.
How
on
far?
our way.
How far?
Yeah, we're fucking close. But what he said was, and the Democrats want it more than Republicans.
Who wants dictatorship?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Who wants a dictatorship? Not me. Is it you?
Yes.
Maybe it's your family.
It's the Democrats. It's the liberals, like I just like, why is that even a talking point? Like, yeah, we can see it's obvious, Tucker. Trump is acting like a dictator for sure. No other president we've ever had has acted like a dictator.
None of
them said they
Americans
wanted to be
like being told what to do.
I'm telling
we
you.
do not. But
It's the model is move to the right, stake your claim, separate moron from his money. And that's what these guys like Tucker Carlson are doing. He knows his audience is going to say, "Oh my God, the Democrats want a dictator. Oh my God." Oh yeah, I got to buy some supplements that he was hawking, or I got to buy his
watch.
It's like MRE, the prepper stuff they all sell, or all that shit. That's what this is all.
Do they really sell prepper stuff? I can never bring myself to watch any of these.
Yeah, Alex Jones sells a bunch of prepper stuff. He sells a bunch of MRE.
I just can't do it.
He sells a bunch of brain pills and make you think. Yeah.
if Obama had to release his birth
sells brain
certificate,
pills.
why doesn't Epstein have to release the Epstein files?
Joe Rogan sells it too.
Why does if Obama had to release his birth certificate? Why wouldn't Trump? Like, why doesn't somebody like a Democrat go out there and say, do this? Like, there's nobody on the Democratic side to be boisterous and do this stuff, though, I think.
Did Obama release his birth certificate?
Well,
I saw something that was clearly fake.
It was AI, for
I thought
sure.
it was the short form.
Yeah, I saw a fake short form birth certificate.
There was no AI back then.
Missed me with that bullshit.
So,
Did Trump ever release his taxes?
you know what? America never had a
God.
America never had a black president.
No,
Obama was a fake one.
He's
He was
half
not-
white too.
He was not legal at all.
Yeah.
You have to be an American citizen for that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
God
Didn't
damn
have
it.
the blood quantum.
Thank God it's only going to get more ridiculous next week with old police chief Bill Dial's going to be
Bill
here.
Dial's going to be here?
Yeah, we're going to have, he's a conservative. He's got conservative views. Not a huge Trump fan, but voted for him. But,
What does that mean? Not a huge fan, but voted.
Okay, you're
means
right.
I'm only a fan
That's
of
a
the
good
voting booth.
question.
In the voting booth.
The only place I
America,
ever support the
I have
guy.
a lot of regret.
But America, that
I'm
is
gonna
like,
regret this vote, but I'm going to do
like
it
in
anyway.
America, that's how it is.
Well,
I'd
sometimes I
say
feel
the
that way
majority of
about
people in
Democrats.
both parties are voting for somebody they don't necessarily care for.
Right.
You're just voting
Is
party
this
lines.
the least of the worst again?
It is. That's where we're at. That is where we're at. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at. All right. Well, thanks a lot, you guys, and thanks you guys for listening.
Wait, hold on, Ed. I've got my
What?
my
He's got
special
his
news
5
story.
Oh
minutes.
wait. Oh yeah. God
I was
damn it.
waiting. I didn't want to get
I
cut
thought
off
you
there.
did it.
So, I turned. I'm not as old as you guys, but I'm getting
No.
there.
What are you, like 40?
Not even.
32.
I turned 40. Not too
did?
long
Oh,
ago.
you did
Yeah,
turn
a couple
40.
months
Oh,
ago.
You're in the club. That's the first Owen old.
And that's
You could
true.
run for that day later like contest, 40 under 40.
Yeah, exactly.
anymore.
And I come across news articles now and then that make me realize, because I don't feel old, but I come across news articles now
Neither
and
do
then
I.
that
You're getting gray.
make me realize, like, oh, I am old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually I
happening.
realize how old I am when I see a promo for Saturday Night Live, and they're like, musical guests, the Venga Boys, and I'm like, I have
What?
no idea who
What
that
is
is.
that? Like trivia.
So I saw this the other day in a Variety magazine. Like the biggest publication in Hollywood
Yeah.
in terms of like
Oh, yeah.
entertainment.
Is that a magazine?
It's a big one.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Here was the headline, and I read it, and I was like, oh boy, I'm old. It says, Tate McRae sings with Kid Laroi and shouts out Jake Shane at sold-out Madison Square Garden debut.
That's on the cover?
That is just blah 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 to
Right.
me.
It's like, I know what those words mean, but not in that order.
Oh way, whoa.
The Kid Laroi was there,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
and they shouted out Jake Shane.
And that is
know.
something. Is that a person or an adjective? Is
I
that
have
a
no
vo-
idea.
Is that a verb?
It's one of those where it's like, the world is
That's
leaving.
so long ago. They were probably like advertising cigarettes in that
Yeah,
magazine.
right, yeah. The world is leaving me behind, so.
Yeah, there's not many magazines left.
Yep.
It's weird. It's sad.
Well, it's online too, but
But it's online. Like, yeah, I say it's sad, but I'm not buying a magazine.
shouts out.
Can we get into our old man rants too?
Go ahead.
Because I got a good one.
All right, what do
ahead.
you got?
What the hell happened to Major League Baseball?
Well, they got
Everybody
rid of
who-
the umpires. For
Everybody who stands up there to bat now has 19 different fucking guards on.
Yep.
Yep.
They got an elbow guard. They
don't
got a
wanna get
wrist
hurt.
guard. They got a shin
Sure. They
guard.
don't want to get hurt.
They got
money.
Let me go throw
What
a
the
fucking hard
fuck?
ball at you
I
at
mean-
95 miles an hour.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. They've been doing it they've been throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs for a long time.
10 years.
And even Barry Bonds didn't wear all that shit. Maybe
No,
that's
well,
why
he
he
was
had
tough.
to take all those PEDs, but
Yeah, probably.
because then his muscles deflected all that
That's
shit.
probably what it is. They're more.
Hey,
more
But they
strict
get
on
to first
steroids.
base, and it takes them a commercial break to take all their
Yes.
fucking guards
It
off.
does.
Hey,
It
And then
does.
they put new ones on just in
To
case
run
they
bases.
might steal.
God,
Yep.
this is like kids on a bicycle now.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
fucking
when we were
crazy.
growing up, Mom was like, "Yeah, go down the street." You had
Oh, yeah.
nothing. You
Helmet,
had no
what?
chain guard on the bicycle. No, nothing.
Stay off of Steve's lawn.
Let's make baseball great again.
Dude, I'm telling
And
you.
outlaw all those fucking guards and
You
everything.
get-
Leave the one
no,
that
I
comes
think-
across your chin. That's fair when you're batting right-handed and you got to
Barry
have something
a
up
big
here.
elbow pad that he used to?
He did.
Eventually
Yeah,
he did.
He get old.
And you know, PEDs, come on, it's perfectly normal for the human head to grow 4 or 5 hat sizes in a summer.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. He was
You
never
know,
on
he had
drugs.
a late onset growth spurt, and he went from a 7 and a
suggesting-
quarter hat size to 9 and
Are you
3/4.
suggesting leather helmets? We go back to leather helmets in football?
Hey, I'm all
No, I'm
PD.
not
I'm
saying
here to
that
be
at all.
entertained.
I just
Exactly.
think that
Let's go. Chicks dig the long.
I mean,
ball.
Yeah,
well, in
they
football,
sure do.
things have gotten smaller. I mean, Earl Campbell had the biggest shoulder pads you've ever seen
That's
of
true.
anybody ever, and the biggest
It was
thigh
weird.
pads. His
That
thigh
was
pads
really
were
weird.
bigger
He
than my
was-
thighs.
Yeah.
Well, technology's gotten better. That's true.
Okay.
mean-
well then why are the pads getting bigger on Major League Baseball players?
Steroids. They're
I'll
buffing up.
tell
It's
the ones I
every-
know that you're to calling them pussy.
That's fine. Because I think they should just stand in there and take it. They're getting paid a lot of money to do that.
I would imagine
mean,
the owners.
One of them's
are
getting paid
saying-
like $750 million
That's why they're
for 5
protected.
years.
Yeah.
That is why they're wearing the protection right there.
It's like the Tom Brady rule.
Shohei
Tom Brady,
Ohtani
you
probably
know-
has protection under his protection. He's got protection where you can't see.
Right.
That motherfucker gets hurt, they're out millions of dollars.
It's like the insurance companies.
It's like when some.
The insurance
Probably
companies.
insurance. Yes, of course it's the insurance companies. The same reason I have to.
Well, they all have every pitcher has his elbow insured.
There you go.
For
course.
millions and millions of dollars.
Really?
Quarterbacks,
Yeah.
the
Those
receivers,
policies got riders
yeah,
on
they
them.
all do it.
Yep. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Lloyd's Bank.
Yep. All it takes is one star to get hurt. It's like when that dirty player for the
Man, that
Packers,
makes
they
sense.
got a lot
Never
of
thought
them.
of that.
When they took out Brady's knee and they
Doesn't
changed the
surprise
rules
me.
that next season and said you can't lunge at people's knees anymore because the NFL
Yeah,
said
that's right.
we just lost Tom Brady for the whole year. We can't let this happen again.
Yeah, that's true.
But I get your point, Steve.
It's
I
not
appreciate
just
it.
one guy though in
I
Major League.
appreciate
It's
it. No.
everybody.
It's the insurance
Everybody.
industry.
it's the insurance industry. I bet insurance has a lot to fucking do with it.
I
without
bet
a
it
doubt.
has
Fucking
everything to do
goddamn
I'm with you,
insurance
Steve.
people. I hate
I'm
that.
with you.
If they wanted to make it
It's
safer,
insurance.
don't let them wear metal fucking
Don't get-
spikes
don't get
when
mad
they're
at
sliding
them.
into second base.
Don't get mad at them, Steve. Get mad at the insurance
I
company.
agree with you, Steve.
I'm
You're in the
pretty sure-
tree of trust.
I think
Okay.
I think your argument lies solely with the
No
insurance
judgment
companies.
here. I agree with you.
But we're gonna, you know what?
Thank
we'll work
you.
on it in the
Appreciate
off
it.
week. In our off time here, we'll figure out who the fuck's responsible.
We have an
for all
off
this
week
padding.
next week?
No, we don't. Our off time.
No,
I
you've
meant.
got Bill Dial next week. That's the opposite.
We got Bill
of an off
Dial.
week.
Oh, that'll be a
Oh,
fun
then
show.
Kevin, did we get that woman from the conservation voters?
I haven't been able to reach out yet.
Okay, all right.
That'll be
She
a fun
won't
show.
call you?
Football's kicking my ass.
Sally, is it?
Yeah, Sally.
She'd be cool, man. I know. I've met her before.
She's a good laugher.
Well, and at the Blue Jam this weekend, we'll talk to a lot of people, see what their opinions are. You know.
Yep.
but-
Oh, that's going to be a barn burner. I'm so excited.
I don't know. Well, we don't have to do a podcast there.
I'd say get your tickets, but it's got to be sold out.
I think it is. I mean, 20 grand's
I
playing,
can't
right?
imagine
20
there's
grand
any
is
tickets.
You know?
You know,
I haven't
bring
seen
in all
them,
the
in the
young
last.
Is
last,
Brandon Easy still in
45
20
times the
grand?
last
He
2
must
months.
be.
Wait, 20 grand's as old as I am.
Brandon's
You know what I was
Easy.
thinking? You know, like when we said that we should probably do the podcast from there, which I think is good. I think that is something that should be broadcast live.
Oh, yeah. No, it should
Absolutely.
These candidates should be out there as much as fucking possible.
Yeah, why
And
not?
what happened? Nah, we don't think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
be. Well, Rand is easy, right? He was still in 20 grand. I remember when he used to work on the Schweitzer campaign back in 2000.
Who, Vinny?
Yeah, Vinny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
He's
was
an
on that
everyman.
campaign, and I was trying to get him run for
right,
that
Vinny.
open legislative seat back then.
Yeah, you
no.
did.
And
That's
we
right.
were like, come on, Rand is easy. And, it rhymes with take it easy. We'll have you sitting in a lawn chair with a PBR. Vote for Rand is easy.
Standing
'Cause
on
he's
a
just
corner
taking
in
it easy.
Winslow, Arizona.
Wow. that was probably, I was asked to run for something
man.
about that time.
I don't know if we'd want that guy in politics.
Oh, Vinny's
Oh,
great.
He's great.
He's a great
Vinny is
guy.
great. He's kind of got a gangsterish to him, you know. Like
He's a little bit
he
gangster
wouldn't
for
take
sure.
any shit. No way. He knows his shit, and he's not going to back
You
down.
know he doesn't have
That'd
toes.
He'd probably be good at politics, actually.
And no one's going to argue with a guy named Rand Azizi.
No,
Yeah,
no.
right.
For one, they're not. I mean, I fucked his name up every time I've ever tried to email him or whatever. Like,
I'm
whatever.
still not sure what Joe Peck just said.
Well,
Yeah,
it just
man,
rhymes
easy,
with
easy.
take
You
it
don't know
easy.
Just remember, Vinny, take it easy.
Okay.
Hey, Vinny, take it easy. How's it
You know,
going?
he doesn't have toes on
Like
one
the
of
Eagles
his feet.
song. Yeah.
That's right.
Take it easy.
His toes are all gone on one of his
It's like
feet.
Deion
I did hear
Sanders.
that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, dude, he's
Got a
not
rough
doing
He's
good.
a good guy.
All right, well,
His wife is beautiful. too.
thanks, you guys.
Wonderful
Puffs.
person.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done. All right, thanks, you
we're out.
guys. We'll see you next week with Bill Dial.
Hey, Jake Shane, shout you out.
Thanks.